Welcome, everyone or no one, I don't know, to the first ever episode of the Idiot Therapist podcast. I'm super excited. Like I said, this is the first episode, so it's a little all over the place. I'm still figuring out how all this works, but you know, I don't know. Just bear with me. This is my first time doing anything like this, so yeah. But let's not talk about that too long. Please bear with me. I'm super excited. A quick introduction. I go by Enigma, or Enigma the creator, whatever, Enigma the poet, whatever you want to call me. I consider myself to be a pretty self-aware and intelligent person. And yeah, that's basically it. I write poetry, and I love art and learning and self-improvement and things like that. So yeah, y'all get the point. And like I said, this is called the Idiot Therapist podcast, right? What is it considered? I don't know. We're gonna call it a podcast. Yeah, it's called the Idiot Therapist podcast. This is like third name that I decided on out of three, because my first two I really loved them, but both of them are taken, so I'm a little upset about that. But yes, this is the Idiot Therapist podcast, and the reason why it's called the Idiot Therapist podcast is because I'm not an idiot necessarily, but the reason why I called myself an idiot is because I'm still making mistakes. I'm still, bumping my head and things like that. But I feel like me bumping my head, each time I bump my head, I learn from it. And that lesson is something that's valuable to not only me, but to people around me and to anyone who may be about to bump their head in that same situation, or has bumped their head in that same way before, but didn't know what to do differently for the next time. So I thought, why not sit down and make a little podcast and just share my experiences, just talk. And I feel like this could be very therapeutic for me, as well as, if it reaches one person that is in a similar situation, or might go through something I went through in the future, or is currently going through something. I feel like this, sharing my experiences and sharing things that I've learned thus far is extremely important. So, yeah, that's why it's called the Idiot Therapist. I don't have a degree in psychology. I don't know everything, but I do know a certain amount of things, and I have been through some things that I had to overcome on my own. So, I'm here to just, talk. I'm going to be making lots of episodes about just different things and sharing my point of view with everyone. And like I said, I'm not an expert, so don't take anything I say as a diagnosis. Don't take it and think, okay, like there's no other possibilities. My advice to any listener is to come on and listen to this and listen to everything. Take the parts that are useful to you and cherish them, hold on to them, take them through your life with you. But anything that you feel like, any information that I say that you feel like does not serve you, feel free to just let it be. Like, just don't take it, along with you. Don't hold it to your heart, none of that. Like, just take what's useful to you, use what you need, leave what you don't, and that's it. So, yeah, I just hope that this podcast, I know nobody didn't listen now because this is my first time posting it, but as time goes on, I hope that we gain some more viewers, and I hope that it gets to a point where it's helping, even if it's just one or two people who's listening and it helps them. Like, I would be grateful for that. So yeah, so that's just my little introduction. I just want to put my knowledge, I guess if that's what you want to call it, out into the world. And yeah, so first things first, what we're going to be talking about today is depression. And like I said, I want this podcast to be like a step towards self-improvement and self-understanding, because sometimes you can't change your situation initially. Sometimes you just have to understand what's going on with you in order to make a plan to change. So I just want that to be known, that don't feel like, okay, you're sad, and it's you just feel like, okay, I know I'm sad. Now I should just not be sad because I know I'm sad. Like, no, you have to understand yourself, understand those patterns that get you feeling how you're feeling. So, anyways, I'm getting off track. Back to what I was saying. Today's topic is depression, and to preface this topic, I just want to say first that if you got out of bed today, or you showered today, you even opened your eyes and said, I'm gonna live through today, even if you think okay, I'm just gonna do one more day, I want to say that I'm extremely proud of you, because people always think achievements have to be something grandiose and something that's oh, you solve the world hunger or something like that. But honestly, I feel like when you have depression, you suffer from depression, just getting out of your bed in general, getting in the shower, everyday things that seem regular can be extremely hard. So if you did any of those things, even if it was just woke up this morning and was I'm gonna push through a little longer, I'm so proud of you. I can't emphasize it enough. Words can't put it into I can't put it into words how proud of you I am, because it's hard. And to everyone who's listening, you're valuable. You do have a reason to live because you have a purpose. And yeah, we're just gonna get into that purpose and how to combat depression and things like that later on. But right now, I'm gonna talk about a few other things first. So first things first, I want to talk about my depression, how that affects me, and all that stuff. So when my depression worsens and things like that, because usually I'm able to I'm usually very highly functioning. I can go through my day and seem fine and get all this stuff done on the regular, but it's I just feel this inside. But sometimes when it gets at my extreme lows, I feel I can't get out of bed. I feel extremely tired all the time. I'm not motivated. I have thoughts of worthlessness and things like that. And I want this podcast to be a very open place and an open dialogue. So I will admit that I have had thoughts of suicide and things like that in the past as well, and even recently. But I think that our minds just try to connect dots. I don't think that every thought that we have rings true, and I don't think that our thoughts equal what we actually want. So it's for example, if I'm feeling worthless and I'm feeling there's no solution to my situations and things like that, then it's your brain is 2 plus 2 equals 4. You feel worthless, there's nothing you can do to fix it, it's always gonna be like that, so why keep going? That's the equals why keep going, you know what I'm saying? So it's it's not that if you have those same thoughts, I want you to know that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you want and things like that, or even not say that's not how you truly feel, because it is how you truly feel, but I'm just saying that your brain lies to you. Your brain says things that aren't a true reflection of you. And so I think we just need to understand that, because it's easy to delve into those thoughts and let the thoughts replay in your head. And what's scary is that sometimes those thoughts can be very comforting, because if I were to go through with that, I would just be at peace. It would all be over. I wouldn't have to wake up every day and keep experiencing these same feelings in these same situations and worrying and stressing and all that stuff, And it just seems calm. But I want you to know that that's not the solution. There's a way that you can make your day-to-day calm and not stress free, because for most of us, I'm sure we're gonna have like certain things, but you can make it with so much more enjoyable if you just take the right path to like make life work for you. That's what I'm saying. So, and if you do like if you do you know to come to those thoughts, it's completely understandable. And I hate this idea that people committing suicide is selfish and all that stuff, because honestly, it's just sad that people, after someone passes, people are thinking, oh, they either they're selfish or they want attention and all that stuff, but it's like really they just wanted help and they didn't get that help, or the help wasn't sufficient enough. So I feel like just don't think that you're selfish for having those thoughts. And even if you have tried to do that, or you know have those feelings a lot, just know that it doesn't make you a bad person or anything like that. But I want us to like talk about some ways to move past those thoughts and to not hold those thoughts to, and act like close to our heart, and play into those thoughts too much. So first, before we get into, I want to talk about. I mean, not before we get into it. What am I talking about? Anyways, yeah. So I want to talk about some ways that you could overcome suicidal thoughts and depression and things like that. And let me think. Okay, I'm gonna share my story. So my key to overcoming depression is to go outside of myself. And so it might not sound like it makes sense, so I'm gonna explain what I mean. By going outside of myself, what I mean is I try to think less about me and think about someone else. Even if it's about a stranger. Like, I could go out and do some volunteer work, or I could go and try to be there for someone else who's in a similar situation than me. Because a lot of times our depression makes us feel worthless, but when we help others and have a positive impact on others, it helps to combat that idea of worthlessness. Because if we can't be worthless if we're adding value to other people's lives and adding value to the world. So I feel like doing things like going out and doing volunteer work, or going and buying a person who's less fortunate something to eat, talking to them, or I don't know, anything, like calling a friend, asking them if they're okay, letting them talk to you about what they're going through, things like that. Because a lot of times our depression worsens and hovers over us when we sit there and we think about it, and we isolate ourselves. But I feel like once you think about what's going on in someone else's life, and them, like, how can I be an asset to someone else, even if it's temporarily, even if it's for 5 minutes, just do those things. Because it sounds like it's not gonna work, but I'm telling you, like, that's so beneficial. And the way that I found this out is because back when I was in high school, it was a day where I had went to my local Burger King, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Burger King is, but if you don't, Burger King is a fast food restaurant. And I went to Burger King and I got this like deal that they had where you get like 2 burgers, a order of fries, and a drink. And so I had got that, but when I tasted the burger, it didn't taste right to me. Like, it just tasted like something was wrong with it or whatever. And I ate this like frequently, so I'm like, it doesn't taste right today, so I just didn't want it. And so then but it could have just been me though. Like, I don't know, I just didn't eat it, and I was gonna throw it away. But then I was walking outside, and so I left school and I had started walking down the street, and a woman, she was like asking for money, and she was asking because she was like, she wanted to get something to eat. And like she seemed like she was like very distraught because she probably didn't eat in a very long time. And so so she was asking for money or whatever, and at the time I didn't have money to give her, so I asked her if she wanted the burgers that I had or whatever, and she took it very fast and she ate it, and she was just thanking me, like, while she was eating the burger, she was just thanking me so much, like as if I just gave her $1,000,000. Like, that's how thankful this woman was. And that moment almost made me cry, because like it was a real life situation of where they say one man's trash and another man's treasure, because I was about to throw these burgers away because I was like, oh, it it doesn't taste right. They probably didn't put enough pickles in it or something. But it's like, to somebody else, that was the thing that helped them go to another day. And at first, like, it just made me feel full of emotions. Obviously, I felt sorry for the woman because, she's in a very unfortunate situation. But it also made me feel good that, you know, I walked past and I was able to help that woman in that moment. And I don't know where she is today. I don't know after how she ate the next day or the day after that. And honestly, that's not really on me. But it just made me feel good that I could help that lady by, because I could have walked past her, I could have ignored her, I could have anything. Not to say that you owe anybody anything. Like, you have the right to walk away, or to, like, pick and choose who to help and all that stuff. But just in that moment, it was like that chance situation helped that woman in a way. And then in that moment, that's when I found out that I had it made me feel better to help others. And so after that, I tried to have a very giving mindset. Like, if someone is going without, I want to help them. Like, whenever I see a person who I don't really like to be like a homeless person, because I don't know if that's rude or not, but I'm just gonna say someone who's less fortunate. So I see a less fortunate person who's outside and stuff like that, and I would take them in a supermarket and grab them some stuff to eat for the day and things like that, because I just feel like, I'm doing it for them, but also it nourishes my soul, because when you put out good, you get good back without even like realizing it. So I feel like I feel very good, and I feel very like fulfilled when I do things like that. And another situation where I learned this about myself is where I was in a job program, and we had to do mock interviews in front of the room and all the other people who were like in this job program as well. And a girl, she had really bad anxiety, and she couldn't talk in front of groups of people, but they were telling her like, you have to do it. And so she like left the room and she threw up because she was so anxious. And afterwards, like after the meeting for the job program that day had ended, I went to her and I talked to her, and I was like, it's okay, I understand, I had bad anxiety too, this, that, and the other. And I just had to talk with her. And then the job program ended. I ended up getting a job from it or whatever. Some months passed, and then I found her on Instagram, and I had followed her, liked her stuff, whatever, maybe commented on a picture. And then she was like, I remember you. You're the girl who talked to me that day. And she was telling me how much I helped her. And, like, she got a job after talking to me. Because before she couldn't talk to people. But now she, like, overcame her anxiety. She can talk in front of people and all that stuff. And she was just, like, thanking me and telling me that I helped her a lot. And so it's just situations like those that made me realize that the times that I feel whole is when I'm filling up other people's cup. So I think that that's something that is a great way to give yourself a little bit of purpose, is going outside of yourself, like I said, and helping others and practicing selflessness. And some other things I would recommend is things like self-care. Pay attention to each moment that you are doing something for yourself. Like when you're washing the face, and I think a great way to put this is to romanticize your life. Like, when I wash my face, I act like I'm in a Dove soap commercial. Like, you would think I was, like, had some cameras around, because excuse me, yes, because I, like, not, I'm exaggerating, I don't actually do that, but, like, I just think about how it feels, and, I just look at myself in the mirror, and I just cherish every single moment. Or, like, when I'm in the shower and the water is hitting me and the water is hot, I think, like, I just think about how it feels, and I appreciate it, because small moments, you can let them pass, but it's like, things like the hot water on your skin, or like the moment, like putting water on your face when you're really tired and it wakes you up, like things that, like, those are things that make me feel good. So usually, especially when you're depressed, you can just brush over those moments and just be thinking, oh my gosh, this and that. But intentionally stop and think about those things that you're going through your day doing, that make you feel comforted or make you feel happy. If you're warm, think about that warmth. If you're laughing, think about that laughter. Enjoy yourself being happy, because it could, I don't know, it could just make a big difference. So yeah, self-care, cherishing the moments, romanticizing your life. Another thing is, if you're you can try journaling. I know for me, sometimes journaling works and sometimes it does not. I don't know what's the difference, but journaling is something that helped me extremely at one point, and then now I try to do it sometimes and it doesn't work at all. But try it. If it doesn't work, try it again. Just keep trying it. Maybe it'll work one day and not work another day. I don't know. But yes, journaling is something that used to help me a lot. Also learning new skills. I learned how to draw and paint, and it was very therapeutic for me. Go for some walks, maybe get active if you're into that. Just find things that take your mind off of your situation and that require focus, and also can give you that sense of achievement and show you okay, I can, for art, for example. It's you finish an art piece and you look at it and you're this art piece would not exist without me, So it's it goes back to what I was saying before about combating those feelings of worthlessness and things like that. So yes, you know what I'm saying. So get new hobbies, and I'm not gonna repeat everything else because y'all probably tired of me saying the same thing over and over. But yeah, so those are some things you could do. And then now we're gonna talk about some negative or toxic outlets, because I just told you positive outlets. Now we're gonna talk about the opposite. A lot of times when we feel depressed, we often try to find fast, easy outlets to make us feel better. But a lot of times that instant gratification is fleeting. It doesn't stay. It's not long lasting. It's not really a good thing, because every time it might make you feel better in the moment, but then once you get that other feeling back, you're gonna be trying to run to that thing every time to try to make it go away again, and that's not good, because that can often lead us to losing our money or just a lot of things. So some examples of that are obviously drugs and alcohol. That's a very common one, and I feel like that's the ones that are most frowned upon, and people are yes, you are running from your XYZ, blah blah. And it's I don't feel like people should be shamed for that. I feel like they should be helped, but that's a conversation for another day. But anyways, yeah, so there's drugs and alcohol, and then there's things that aren't really talked about much, or at least I haven't heard them talked about much, which is things such as using food or shopping or things like that as outlets, or even people and romantic partners as outlets to try to get that instant gratification, making you feel better in the moment, but it's not gonna last unless you do that work to push past it on your own time. So yeah, and I feel like especially the romantic partner one hits home for me, because I tend to when I like people, I tend to attach myself to them, and I want to do another episode on healthy versus unhealthy relationships, attachment styles, love languages, and all that, but that's going to be another video. But yes, it's I used to tend to attach myself to people a lot to try to make sure they're around me constantly, so I would not have to face what I felt and things like that, and that's horrible because it puts a strain on your relationships with them, and it also doesn't help you in the long run, because you're gonna get used to feeling okay because they're there, but then what if one day they're not there for whatever reason, whether it's a breakup or they have to go away for some time, or they are just not there for it's just a plethora of reasons why they could not be there, but that's just not a good thing. You have to learn how to be okay on your own and in any situation. So I don't know, I just feel like that's just a thing. And it's hard, because I don't know if loneliness is a depression symptom, but it's hard when you do feel lonely. But yeah, so those are some bad outlets that you don't want to indulge in. If you find yourself excessively doing any of those things, whether it's drinking, drugs, shopping, eating, all that stuff. You just have to recognize it and then set boundaries for yourself and stick to it. Because honestly, it's hard, but the only way you can get past it is if you master self control. And that's not going to be a one day thing. Like, you're not going to just be excessively eating and then just go cold turkey and never excessively eat again. Like, that's not going to happen. And honestly, I feel like that's harder to do, because it's like your body is used to doing one thing and your mind is used to doing one thing, so then now you're doing the complete opposite, and now it's like, what's going on, and you're shocking yourself. I feel like, okay, say you're excessively eating every day out of the week, instead, and then you should tell yourself, okay, I'm excessively eating every day of the week, so next week what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat how I usually eat, but 2 days out of this week I'm gonna eat healthily for the entire day, or I'm gonna eat one healthy meal or two healthy meals for 2 days out the week. And then as like time goes on, keep increasing it, and like give yourself incentives. Like, if I eat healthy 4 days out of this week, I get to go do my favorite thing, or I get to buy that thing that I've been wanting, but it was like too expensive or whatever. Just give yourself incentive to do right, because you want to have self-control and give yourself motivation to do the things that are going to be beneficial for you in the future. So, yeah, that's another thing. Another thing is, like, depression could be caused by feeling damaged. Like, all these things happen to me, or even I've done things, or whichever one it is, one of the two or both, just these things have happened, and now I'm too messed up to go back, or I'm too, like, just damaged, like, I'm broken, I'm damaged, whatever. And I want everyone to know that no matter what, well, I'm not gonna say that, because, like, if you over here, like, you're like a mass murderer because, like, you think it's funny to kill people or something like that, I'm not talking about them type of people. I'm talking about the people who, like, okay, they made a mistake here and there, and or maybe not even here and there, they just making mistakes, but it's not like they're purposely trying to harm people, like, for their enjoyment and other stuff. Like, that's what I'm talking about. And I don't know about the other type of people. I don't know if they're savable or not. Let's not even get into it, because I'm gonna stress myself out. But all I know is, in the cases that I'm talking about, the type of people that I'm talking about, I want you to know that there's no situation where you can't go back. Like, I mean, you can't literally go back, but you'll find worth, and your situation. Just know that whatever you've done or been through, somebody else has done or been through it, and probably done and been through it 10 times worse than you. And so it's like, even if you're the most damaged person on earth, you being damaged and just having those experiences is useful to someone else, because you can relate to someone. And if you come across someone who's been in that same space and they're like, I feel alone, now you know how they're feeling, you know how their situation is, so now you can connect with them, so that right there is a big reason why you're important. Like, I feel like everybody needs to have a plethora of experiences. It has to be the world needs people who have different experiences, because if they didn't, we wouldn't be able to learn from each other. And somebody can learn from your situation, even if you did the worst thing you could think of. That's like, oh, I went and I robbed the supermarket or something because I was hungry. Like, you could talk about that and tell somebody else why they shouldn't rob a supermarket and how they could do differently in the situation or whatever. I know that might be a bad example, but things like that. Like, somebody can use your knowledge, even if they aren't in the same exact situation. However you're feeling because of that could also be useful, because, like, I felt those ways, I've done those things, or I've done things that made me feel the same way that you're feeling, and you can connect with somebody. That goes back to the point of going outside of yourself and using your situation as a benefit and as a way to propel someone else, because in that situation, you're pushing someone else forward, and in the process you're going to go forward as well without you even realizing. So that's another thing. Everybody is useful. Everybody has a purpose. And even if, you know, you don't see it now, you have to keep going to get the chance to see it. Because if you stop now, you'll never see what could have came to be, you know? And it's very hard. It's hard. I think I want to do another, I already said I'm going to do another podcast on, like, another episode on romantic relationships and things like that, especially, like, yeah, I already said that, so we're going to pass that. And, yeah, so just don't, another thing, too, is social media makes it very hard because it makes it look like everybody has it together. I'm just letting y'all know, people don't have it together. Everybody's confused. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're freestyling just like you. It's just that they know how, they figured out how to make it look like they're all good and they know what they're doing, but really they're lost just like you. They probably crying just like you. It's just that they taking these pictures before they start crying. You know what I'm saying? They posting it. Oh, they got this, that, and the other. They could have got that off credit. They could have got that. Like, don't compare yourself to other people that you see. You know, focus on yourself. And if you are going to focus on other people, focus on how to help them and push them forward. And don't focus on, oh, this person has this, that, and other, because you honestly don't know what they really have, what they could get taken away, you know, things like that. And not to be like, oh yeah, they could get that taken away tomorrow, like, not in a catty way, but like, you don't know what they had to do to get that, and you don't know if that's actually theirs, or you don't know if they're even happy with all those things. So just, that's not your business. Basically, like, just focus on your happiness, focus on how to help people, you know, spread love, be filled with love, you know, put that love forward, things like that. And last but not least, you know, find simple pleasures in the day-to-day. And, you know, if you want to distract yourself, try learning something new, watch a documentary. And another pro tip that I have for y'all is, if you're going through something, look up videos or articles about people who are going through the same thing. Because one, that'll help you figure out what to do in your situation, but also it'll let you know that you're not alone. Because like I said, their experiences helps you. You know, they went through something, and now you can see that, okay, how did they deal with that? If they dealt with it bad, okay, what am I going to do differently? If they dealt with it good, oh, okay, so I'm going to take this part, and do that just like they did it, you know? It's just all about moving forward. So that's what I'm ending today with. Move forward. Do your best. I'm proud of you. I don't know y'all. You probably know I listen at this point, but if anybody else, like, if anyone hears this, I love you. Proud of you. And keep pushing. Thank you for listening to the Idiot Therapist podcast, and I hope I'll see y'all next time. Peace, y'all.